As the days are getting shorter and colder, I always get the urge to make some dark winter scenes in Blender. So in this video I'll break down how I created this one. First I'll add placeholders for the path and the house, as well as the stone walls and trees on the sides. Then already adding some placeholder lighting just to see how it'll look later down the line. Now this scene is pretty simple, as in it has very few elements. So instead of just downloading a house model, I'm gonna try to make one myself. Also, I tried searching for a pre-made model and I couldn't find anything that looked like what I have in the reference. So as you can see, I imported my reference image, straightened it out a bit in a software called Darktable so that I won't have any weird perspective distortion, and just started tracing it in Blender. Then also adding this tower on the left and the roof as well. I'll continue adding more and more details like the chimneys and this weird fence, as well as cutting out the doorway and starting to create the stairs. I'll also add in a few windows as well as these balconies. You can see I also tried to project the original reference image onto my model as the texture, but that doesn't look the way I wanted to, so I'll continue creating the detail from scratch. For that I'll just use a few textures from Polyhaven and tweak the color to match what I have in mind. Now, because of the recent launch of fab.com, all Megascans assets are currently free for everyone, so that came in very handy when trying to add more detail to the house. Which you can see right here, I'm using a lot of Megascan assets, lining them up with the details I already made to add a lot more detail. And this is really what took the house from looking honestly pretty bad to actually very good. Then once I'm done with that, I'll start tweaking the rest of the scene, adding a bit of cobblestone to the path that leads towards the house, as well as adding some brick textures to the walls on the left and right side. I wasn't happy with how this looked, so I replaced them with some more Megascans. Also changing the ground texture to some dirt, because I imagine this will be in a forest, so I don't want it to look too clean and city-like. Then I'll also add some snow as well. Using a combination of a plane, I'll conform to the shape of the ground, in combination with this shader that adds snow on top of the objects it's applied to. Now this is starting to look like something, but it's still pretty far away from looking good. So I thought that the reason is the trees. So I replaced them, but still I didn't like how it looked, so I tried spacing them out a bit more, tried bringing them a little bit closer, and still I didn't like how it looked. So I just completely redid the particle system and added a few more trees from the Botanique library, and in my opinion, that pretty much fixed it. Of course, I still had to do a little bit of tweaking of the density of the forest and add some snow to the twigs of the trees as well, but that ended up fixing the scene for me. Now, I do still think that the house doesn't stand out enough, so to fix that, I'll go into the compositor and use the Z-depth pass to add a bit of fog as well as a blurred version of the image into the background, which popped out the house nicely. Speaking of the house, I still haven't added snow to it, so let's fix that, and this is how it looks. So after making a few more tweaks and adding a color grade, this is the final render.